about, is there any albums you've particularly taken a liking to that have come out this year? I mean, personally, I do think with the whole lockdown thing, I think quite a few bands have managed to bring out what they call lockdown albums, where they've stayed in their own properties and recorded themselves and mixed it in. And I do think where they've not had to worry about touring and things, there's been some quite good albums come out from bands that are more established.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I couldn't get it down to one, so just like the films, but the three I got it down to was Corey Taylor, old Mr. Slipknot.
Yeah.
But he got a solo album out this year, which was really good. Like proper, like classic, like old school rock and roll kind of like album, but also just sort of blending it with a lot of modern day shit as well. A bit of rap on there as well, a bit of hip hop and stuff. He's really sort of blended like a lot of different genres together. But it's that real sort of like toe tapping kind of old school rock kind of album. And he's got such a fucking great voice. He can do it all. And that was a really good one. And then the other one was the Tenet soundtrack by Ludwig Göransson.
The only thing you could hear in the film.
The only thing you could hear in it. And then then there was the single, The Plan by Travis Scott, which was also like co-written by Göransson, and that was really cool, like really good sort of like pumping kind of new school kind of tune, quite reminiscent of like Kanye West, but it was really, really smart. Like it's a soundtrack, it sounds completely different to any other Nolan movie. And then the third one was Brian Warner. He released one this year, Mr. Marilyn Manson. He released an album called We Are Chaos, which has probably been, it is my most listened to album of this year. Really, really cool album. And the guy is just constantly evolving. And the album he's put out this year, which does speak a lot about the whole pandemic and stuff, even like the total cut We Are Chaos. It's just a very well crafted album. I couldn't recommend that one more. It's a lot more chilled out. There's no like irresponsible hate anthem or fight song or mob scene or that kind of tourniquet kind of tracks on it. I can't remember if he'd screams on it, but it's a lot more sort of chilled out. But it's just wonderfully produced. I'd definitely recommend that one. How about you?
I'd say I think it's Goldfinger for me. Their album came out, Never Look Back. It's quite a lot of ska punk stuff. Obviously, what they've always done. But Charlie Paulson's back on guitar in this one, which is always good news because he's a phenomenal guitarist. And the last track on it is called "Standing on the Beach," and it's a collaboration with John Feldman and Robert Smith from The Cure. And
nice.
It really has got a good sort of Cure vibe to it, but it still sounds like a Goldfinger song. And I'd say I was impressed with that, because I think a lot of bands that have been going since the late 90s, kind of churning out albums, and they get one or two tracks on them. But I think this year, them and Less Than Jake have brought out albums that have kind of really, really sort of sound like you're listening to them for the first time again. Yeah, a lot of like these end of the year things, I thought we could sort of tip the hat to some of the people we've lost this year. For both of us, I think the biggest one would be old Mr. Connery, old Shawnee Boy, 007 himself.
Punch the keys, for God's sake!
There we are, trying to enjoy a nice cup of tea with a bit of Only Fools and Horses on the TV, and we find out that Mr. Bond has has passed away, God bless his soul.
Yeah, stepped out into the great blue yonder. That was a big shame.
One of those guys because you grow up with him, you just think he's going to live forever.
I think with him though, he played by his own rules, didn't he? He retired when he wanted to, and they said to him, "Come back and do this, do that," and he was like, "No, I've retired now. That's it.
I'm off to play golf."
I'm off to play golf." Yeah, I mean, even when they wanted him to do the new Indiana Jones, he was like, "No, I'm not doing that for you. I'm not doing that for anyone."
Does somebody not know how to flush a toilet after they've had a shit?
It's not me.
Well, it was fucking one of yous. Disgusting!
And obviously, quite recently, we've lost Barbara Windsor.
Oh, bless her, old Babs.
Old
That was another shocker.
It was. She hadn't heard from her. But obviously, she was ill. But then, one of the sort of a British icon from the Carry On films. I think it's probably one of my earliest triggers. I think he always accidentally whips the old knockers out, and I think from a young age, she was still a trigger for me.
Yeah, she was just she did come across like a really sweet, lovely person, didn't she? Like very switched on, very dedicated to her craft, and just an all-round sweetheart.
Yeah,
that was a shame.
Well, I do think if you got on the wrong side of her, you'd be in some serious trouble.
Oh, she would have slapped the shit out of you. Even if she had to get on the box, she would have got on the box, slapped the shit out of you, and threw the box at you, and then she would have had that sexy little wicked laugh of hers.
Mo! Hey, Mo! About 15 years ago, hello, boy. Has that guy haircut you got now?
John le Carre, we lost, didn't we?
Yeah.
Honor Blackman, we lost, didn't we? From old Goldfinger. Oh, and also, I can't remember what the actress's name is, but she's one of the dancers at the beginning of Goldfinger. And she's also the one, they paint her in gold, when they comes in with the old Bollinger.
Yeah. And of course, Darth Vader and Boba Fett.
Yes, they did, didn't they? Yeah, Boba Fett was quite recent as well, wasn't he?
Was, yeah. The original guy that played Boba Fett.
And also, God bless him, Chadwick Boseman. That was another one. That was a shocker. He had lived with the illness, wasn't it? Was it like 3 or 4 years? And all of what he accomplished, and he was a rising star. And again, he just came across as a really lovely guy. Yeah, that was quite a choker, that one.
Just one shout out though I want to give is for Bobby Ball. I know people kind of seem to think that it's because he went via the COVID, same as Eddie Large, but I think Bobby Ball was a really funny guy, and I do think he influenced, for instance, the likes of Peter Kay for a start.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely, Cannon and Ball were one of those double acts, like Morecambe and Wise were on the TV when we were growing up. So
yeah, ITV.
ITV.
Cannon and Ball, the Cannon and Ball show. Brilliant. Diddly-dee.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Biggest knobhead of the year. Biggest twat. Fucking Kanye West. What an absolute ball bag of a man. He fucking starts giving it the old, I'm going to run for president, and then decides, I better drop out because it doesn't look like Trump's going to win and blah, blah. And then as a present to his wife, he had a hologram done of her dead father to send her a message. He created, when they do the holograms, I think the first one they did was Tupac, like that. So he's done it like that, but it's of her dad, and he's given her a message, and he's talking to her. But I think it starts off, in the beginning of it, starts off with, obviously, he says, I'm really proud of you, and you've married the best, greatest person in the world. I mean, for a start, it's weird. I mean, even if he was just talking about Kim Kardashian, it's still weird. It's still a weird gift to give someone. It's a message from your dead father. But then
talking about how brilliant I am.
How brilliant he is, and it's just like, yeah, but you've programmed it to say that. For fuck's sake.
Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
But
Maybe that'd
I
be-
just wondered what her reaction must be, because, I mean, if she's got any sort of sense of it, she'd be like, do you know how fucking offensive this is? I mean, do you know how ridiculous it is? I mean, you just, anyone would just go, get out, basically, get out and don't come back. You ridiculous man.
You think you know what pressure is, do you? You don't. I'm the one that knows what pressure is. I get it all the time. I'm getting nothing from you.
It's just weird. It reminds me of that. It's almost like a Black Mirror thing. I think they did do one where there was you were able to create a hologram of someone via their Facebook sort of thing.
It's a bit weird. It is just a bit weird, you know.
It's too fucking weird, mate. Who's your dead dad to say how much of a fucking great guy I am? I've programmed him to say it or anything because I can afford to do that. What a cunt. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Hey, there's somebody at the door. Oh, there's somebody at the door. Come on, there's somebody at the door. Oh, there's somebody at the door.
Arseholes of the year. I think for me, it has to go to the arseholes in the world who are making this whole pandemic shit worse. Because it's doing my fucking nutting that every day I'm seeing knobheads who just are so ignorant and fucking materialistic that they cannot see the light there. They cannot see the impact that this is having. It's not something that's just in Portsmouth, where we are. It's something across the world. It's wrapped itself right across the world. My missus and I took our little doggy out for a walk. It's the amount of times you get people walking 2-3 abreast down the path, and they don't even. There's such a lack of consideration to even sort of give a bit of a berth just to let you go. It's just like, no, I'm going to keep walking down here like a fucking wall. You're going to move out of my way. And the amount of people you have in supermarkets who are getting close to you and reaching over you, and they don't wear masks and stuff. I'm sure I'm not the only person who thinks like this, but it's just, it's someone who's kind of like taken it seriously, and then just sort of like, you know, just seeing the impacts it's having. I mean, even, you know, because I have my little boy every other week, and, you know, and I have to cross water to go get him. And it's just things like that, you know, you have to be really sort of cautious of, like, you know, what transport I'm going to take, and, you know, I don't want to subject him to too many things, and it just pisses me off. Like the other day, I dropped him off, right, and I got back onto the boat, and I looked around, and I thought, there's a lovely little seat over there, right by the window. Okay, there's a couple of seats. I'm going to put a jacket on one of them. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to read my Alien book. I'll get a couple of chapters into my book. It's all good. Out come all the xenomorphs, and the characters are going mental and stuff like that. I'm really like into the story. I look around, right? There must be like 50 or 60 empty seats around me. I look back down on the page. The next thing I know, I've got a family that's sitting down next to me with like 4 kids going absolutely fucking mad. None of them wearing any masks, and they are literally half a foot behind me. They've gone and secured the chairs right behind me. And it just fucking pisses me off, because I just think, not only are you not socially distancing, not only do you not give a fuck for other people, but you are interrupting my fucking story. Yeah, I think for me, it's just, it's the people around, you know, and I work in an industry in which I don't understand why we are having to work face to face as much as we will be from next week. Considering we are in a lockdown, being told to distance, and then working in an industry where they're saying, right, but we want you to be mixing with thousands of fucking strangers who you don't know who they've been mixing with, but it's all right. When we were in the first lockdown, you know, there was a lot of camaraderie. There was a lot of people saying, oh, after you, and thank you very much, and just being careful and being cautious. Now they don't give a fuck. You know, if they can't go out down the shops and get themselves a bloody handbag, which is not essential, or go out and get themselves a nice gourmet coffee or something like that, it bugs me. It really bugs me. And also I think it's like when you go places. So even when I'm like on the boat to go get my boy, you know, there are people who are not wearing their masks. They're not sanitizing. They're getting very close to people. They don't give a shit. And then the workers don't give a fuck either, because they don't want to challenge them. They don't want to say anything in case somebody gets slightly annoyed. And you think,
from that point of view, I can kind of see it from the workers' point of view. If they do challenge someone, you're just going to get a load of abuse back. And also, you've got the thing where you can just say, I can't wear one for medical reasons, which is bollocks, because everyone can wear a fucking mask. I don't care what they say.
but the great thing about being on the boat is you can say, "Oh, that's okay, sir or madam. Have you seen the view from our top deck up here?" and just push them overboard.
But I was in a shop and some guy bowled in without a mask, and the woman in there said, "Oh," very polite. She just went, "Have you got a mask, love?" And he went, "No, I'm exempt. I've got a heart problem." And I thought, all right, I don't think so. The geezer was caked in plaster, so he's obviously a plasterer and does plastering for a living, where you should, health and safety wise, be wearing a mask anyway. And then he gets a fucking 20 fags as well. You can't have that much of a bloody heart, and no, they can't.
Hello, Sexy. I was just thinking about you earlier on, and you can back up my mind. I was checking some of your photographs. The in the shower when you're all soapy and your big breasts.
What you've said there earlier is the conspiracy thing. That's the most dangerous thing of this whole pandemic, is all the shit that's coming through. And I mean, people we know, there's members of my family and stuff that fucking spout out this shit about it's all not real, it's fake. The question is, why? Who is going to gain from it?
My favourite one was when there was a conspiracy theorist they were saying about the vaccine is just basically an injection gateway for all these micro robots to be implanted into your body so that Big Brother up there can control us. Why? I mean, unless they're up there thinking, "Oh, we're going to play a game of Risk or something with these people."
They're saying that it's going to change your DNA. No, and then it can change your DNA so that future generations will be sort of morphed into some sort of weird subhuman person that can be controlled, and they absolutely believe it. And what really bugs me is the likes of people we know come out with, "Oh, you need to wake up, you need to realise you're just being a sheep." But they're not doing anything different to everyone else. We're all just sort of doing what we're told because obviously we think that's for the best. That's for the best. We need to get through this as quick and as safely as possible. And no one wants to see anyone they know get ill. But they're saying, "Oh, you're all sheep and doing that." But yeah, all right, what are they doing then? They're not going out on these protests or making themselves known.
I think there's some wonderful things like the NHS, what they've done, and how they've supported us, that they're the heroes here. And, there's been some really nice, bright, spots and really wonderful moments around the world. But unfortunately, as part of the yang to that yin, you've just got a bunch of wankers walking around who are just thinking, "Do you know what? I'm not prepared to wait. This is affecting me right here, right now. And I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing because I don't give a shit about other people." Right? And I was talking to someone the other week, right? And this is what made me laugh. And it was one of those moments where, I'm like, this is like, my mouth is like 3-5 seconds before my brain even started to think about what I was about to say. This geezer was saying something about about the whole Christmas thing. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think it's fair, right? Oh, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about all this tear shit. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the family round. I'm going to have all the friends round. We're going to have a bit of fiasco. All this lot. And just, I don't give a shit. Why should I give up Christmas? Why should I give up my Christmas?" And I said to him, it came out like, the funny thing is, mate, is Christmas has been around, supposedly, about 2,000 years before this year. And I'm sure it'll be around for about 2,000 years, maybe after this year. And you're not afford to just skip a Christmas. So it's not even like you're going to be completely skipping it. It's going to be slightly different. And surely that's a little bit exciting because you have to do something a bit different.
Every aerial photo and recon report indicate a defensive arsenal in the D and perhaps negative C categories. There's also a nest of anti-aircraft and Nagajina squadrons. They can send up an ACAC umbrella high enough to make any attack ineffective.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
Mainstream media don't help. I don't think they help at all, because I think they just push for the negative all the time and kind of roll people up to thinking that, oh, well, why should I bother, because I'm being told that this person's doing that, they're not doing anything about it. It's kind of a difficult situation that we're in.
It's just that knock-on effect, though, isn't it? It's just if like you see it in any kind of walk of life, if someone sees someone not abiding by something or just kind of giving a two-finger salute to it, then they question it, don't they? And they go, well, why should I do it? And then if they then follow suit, and then the third person in line then starts to do it, and then you just got that knock-on effect. And then the next thing you know, you're taking your dog for a walk, and suddenly there's like hundreds of fucking people down on South Sea Esplanade who are not socially distancing, and you're just thinking, oh my God, that's your knock-on effect right there. We're trying to keep our distance from people. There are other people who just couldn't give a fuck. It was a lovely day. The sun come out. We had a wee bit of snow this morning, which was lovely. I couldn't believe it. It was snowing, and then literally a couple of hours later, it was blue skies. The sun had his hat on. Hip, 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 hooray.
The sun thought, I'll tell you what, I'll get this nice crisp hat out and pop it on just for an hour or so.
Italian sun hats.
I've got my Only Fools and Horses calendar ready for the end of the week, 2021. I was thinking that the other day of like inappropriate calendars that could come out. I wondered if they'd ever done one like Babes of the BMP. Looking at, or serial killers, like a different serial killer each month. Oh, Harold Shipman, September. Yeah, just really inappropriate. Or
it would be at Christmas. Would it be like Jimmy Savile or someone like that?
Get out, no, no, fucking pedo calendar, no way. Wow, I don't know. Or you could have, on that point, Men of the Me Too movement.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is a market in like some
Bill Cosby march. With the flipping and the flapping and the fingering while they're sleeping.
No Rolf Harris's. You want to know why he's inside today? Go home, YouTube Rolf's Cartoon Club. We used to watch that every day. All you see is...
Just so we can start wrapping up then, anything you're looking forward to next year coming out?
In terms of film, it'll be pretty much everything that's been put back this year. It's a shame that we haven't got around to seeing Bond. I think it's all done. I think it's just had to just put it back and back and back. I mean, there are a number of things coming out. I think the one for me that I'm most excited about is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because Warner Brothers have sort of invested heavily into him, finishing his version, his film, and it's going to be 4 1-hour parts on HBO Max, which hopefully will come over here in the UK. But I think it's just, I like the idea. I just like that they're supporting him on this, because it's just unheard of, really. That due to family tragedy, he had to step down during that film, and then they got someone who came in and. For all of like what we're being subjected to now through the media and stuff, what we're hearing from some of the stars of the film, this individual come in and just completely fuck it all up, and the film was just a mess. And it was, as much as I wanted it to really work, it was pretty crap. There was some good moments into it, but I mean, considering that Zack Snyder has said like hardly anything of what you've seen in that film is mine, and that he's got. Well, if he's going to be releasing a 4-hour version of it, then it goes to show how little of his vision we've seen. So I really like the idea that Warner Brothers have said, look, we will support you, we'll invest into this so that you can finish your movie. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's really good for a filmmaker to be able to do that and achieve that. And hopefully it. Well, I can't see it being any fucking worse than the mess that it was. But I really do like Zack Snyder's movies. I think he's a really good filmmaker. He's a visionary. I really like what he's already done with Man of Steel. I loved Batman v Superman. And I really do hope that this one just works out.
Abu Bakr
al-Baghdadi.
I'm really looking forward to Coming to America 2.
Oh, it looks good, doesn't it? The trailer, but they released yeah.
Fucking brilliant. I really look.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the first one again the other day. It's Eddie Murphy. That was when he was in his heyday, I think. Those films like that, Trading Places, obviously we've spoken about, but yeah, I do like Coming to America, and they've got Arsenio Hall back. They've got they've basically got all the characters back in it. It just looks like it's going to be. I hope it's going to be a good romp.
Yeah, I hope so too. I watched it, and it takes you back, doesn't it? Like a trip down memory lane, and because they've got all the original characters in there as well. I mean, even the potential wife who he gets to hop on one leg and bark like a dog.
They got them done up as the barbershop guys as well. Which obviously,
yes, but no Cuba Gooding Jr.
That's it, yeah, because he's not. And they've also got the Arsenio Hall doing the preacher, and they've also got Sexual Chocolate, haven't they? But he's like quite a big fella now. When I sit to the Lord, Sexual Chocolate one. That and obviously the fact that they've just finished recording the new Partridge series, because they've done another This Time series. Well, he took a break from it from a while, didn't he? Because he wanted to get away from it. But then I think he just thought, well, why am I doing that when it's such a great character and he's the only one that can do it? I mean, it's a character you can do forever, isn't it? Because there are people like that still going.
I think also the other thing is whether they'll release it in one part or two is the next Mission Impossible. Because I know they're doing 7 and 8, aren't they? So I'm sure we'll get at least one film of Cruise craziness.
I don't know if I can stomach Cruise for that long.
What, for 6 movies? Yeah, of course you could. We watched Interview with a Vampire last night. That was a classic as well.
Oh, he's good in that, though.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
good.
Top Gun, Cocktail, what's the one? A Risky Business. When he spends the cash that his parents have left for him for food on a prostitute. What an amazing idea.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking those are the biggest boobies you've ever seen. I'm not your average woman. I like sex, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Back to the Future. I know, obviously, the story is that Disney wouldn't go anywhere near it because, obviously, he's going back in time and his mum fancies him. The whole premise of the film is he goes back in his time and his mum fancies him. I mean, what the fuck? It's a great movie, though. I know I'm going to get some bit of a bad rap for saying it, but in the third one, his mum plays his great auntie. And it's like, she wouldn't look like that, though, would she? She'd look completely different because, I mean, the bloke, Seamus, he's Michael J. Fox, obviously, but they've still used Leah Thompson to play his wife. And it's like, well, so all the McFlys are inbred then, are they?
Maggie! Fetch some water, we got a herdsman on here!
So, I think until next episode, stay loose.
Stay groovy. Take it easy out there, or you vultures. I don't know what we're going to call our fans. We haven't got any.
Fiddly boy load.
Ta-ta!
You gave a promise to me, yeah, and you broke it. You broke it, honey. These eyes are crying. These eyes have seen a lot of love, but they're never gonna see another one like I have with you.